Welcome back to AudZone, and in this video I want to explain to you how you can use the compliance checker in AudZone to control the compliance of your clinicians against your company policies or to make sure you are compliant regarding the HSP documentation. Now in this case I want to use it for an earwax removal appointment, and I want to basically measure that all my clinicians do exactly what I want them to do. This is essentially a tool to manage clinical consistency across larger teams. So the first step we're going to do is we click settings here on the side, we go to compliance, and at the bottom we click new document. We type in earwax removal for the title, and we choose clinical documentation in the category dropdown because we will use it for a note. And then in the content, you can basically just drop some information in if that is required or needed for internal overview. So we create the document, and then the first thing we need to do is we need to give it some rules. It writes in here the description that you've given it in the beginning, but you can also obviously add further items so that a medical history is needed, for example, otoscopy, wax removal if that's required, education of the process, and so on. Now you click extract rules with AI, and it will now extract certain rules that you can then review. This will take just a couple of moments. After a little while, the compliance checker has now created some rules. And these are all titled documentation for an earwax removal appointment must include. And then you see here the patient's relevant medical history. Okay, so yeah, that is exactly what I want. You can edit the text or not. Let's have a look what the next one is. It must include the findings from the otoscopy. It's good. Documentation must record whether earwax removal was performed, including details of the procedure. It must include education provided to the patient about the wax removal process. Yes, that's what I want. It must include the tympanometry results or documented reason why tympanometry was not performed. Yes, that's what I want. Documentation for an earwax removal appointment must include a hearing screening or a more comprehensive hearing assessment. So that's great. Now, what I actually want to do here at stage 5, I actually do not want a reason why tympanometry was not performed. I want to know if it was performed or not. So in this case, I'm going to edit the text and just delete that last section here and basically say documentation for an earwax removal appointment must include tympanometry results. Okay. Now, if I wanted to make that an instant fail, basically, this is a no-go criteria. If you do not do that, I want to know about it, and I want to alert my clinician about a fail. I could enable that. Let's do that for the moment, just for the sake of this example. Once you have created all your rules, you're going to save the changes. Okay. Now, once the rules are updated, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to assign it to some appointment types. And in this case, it was for a wax removal, as we said, right? So we search wax removal in the list and click earwax removal. And we also may want to do that for a pediatric earwax removal, even though for that I would probably have other rules. And that is that for the time being. So at this stage, we are finished with the setup, and we are going to move over to the session list on the far left side here. We are going to start a new appointment. Again, that's for Demo John. It's for private rehab, and we are choosing an earwax removal appointment, and we create the session. So now we have the session, and the way that works is obviously on one side you have the checklist here. If you haven't set that up yet and you want that, there's a separate video earlier where I explained how to use the checklists. So these checklists now remind the clinician of what needs to be done. So let's start. Let's start the recording. And I'm just creating a transcript quickly. Okay, I've now created my transcript, and I just press stop recording here, or basically I've created the recording quickly. while I put you on pause, and now it is transcribing that document and it will be creating the note. So here the note is being created, and this is where we will see the compliance checker as well. So the note is now created according to the template of the note. And now you see down in the bottom right here, you see that the compliance checker is now checking the note, the documentation, against what rules we have just set just earlier. This takes a couple of seconds and we just let that run, and then it will give us a score. So the compliance checker has now come back with 3 out of 6 rules satisfied, and we are just clicking on this here, and now we see that we have 3 rule violations here. Documentation must include education provided to the patient about earwax removal process. That wasn't done. It must include the tympanometry results. That wasn't done. And the documentation for an earwax removal appointment must include a hearing screening, and that wasn't done. So now we could say, all right, I haven't done them, so I'll go back into the session and do them. But if I do think that I actually have done them, I can go into the compliance notes here and basically copy something in that I've educated the client on the process, etc. And I just regenerate that note. Now it's regenerating the note, and it will then recheck the results once it's done that. Beautiful. And now we have regenerated that. We have 5 out of 6 rules, and very likely it's just the hearing screening that has been missing here, which again I haven't done in this appointment, and I haven't told it that I did. Now for you as a manager, you could go into the compliance manager here on the left hand side. You can measure the overall score. Now keep in mind, this is a demo account. You can see there's, for example, one previous HSP assessment, HSP review with 44%, which is has significant violations. And then you've got an earwax removal with 83% with 1 violation. You can assess that across all appointment types that have compliance documents attached to it, and also across all clinicians in this demo account. That's only me. All right, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us and we're happy to help.